Have you ever heard a story so terrifying it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up? A story that blurs the line between folklore and recorded history? Today, we're journeying back to the early 19th century, to a remote farm in Adams, Tennessee, to uncover the chilling tale of the Bell Witch, arguably America's most famous and violent haunting. This isn't just a ghost story whispered around a campfire. It's a case so well documented that it's been called the only instance in U.S. history where a spirit was officially blamed for a person's death. Our story begins in 1817 with John Bell, a respected farmer living a quiet life with his family. But that peace was shattered when strange things started happening on his property. It began with sightings of a bizarre creature. Some said it looked like a dog with the head of a rabbit. John tried to shoot it, but it vanished into thin air. Soon after, the disturbances moved inside the Bell home. It started with faint knocking sounds on the outside walls and doors. The family dismissed it as a prank, but the sounds grew louder, more insistent, and followed them from room to room. Then came the whispers, faint, raspy voices that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. What began as strange noises quickly escalated into physical torment. The entity, whatever it was, seemed to delight in terrorizing the family. At night, invisible hands would rip blankets from their beds. Pillows would be violently thrown across the room. The children, especially, were targeted. They complained of being slapped, pinched, and having their hair pulled by an unseen force. But the focus of the spirit's cruelty was John's youngest daughter, Betsy. She suffered the most, enduring relentless physical attacks. Her cheeks would be red and swollen from invisible slaps, and she would cry out in pain as the entity tormented her. The haunting became impossible to hide. The family was exhausted and terrified. They confided in their neighbor, James Johnston, who decided to stay the night to witness it for himself. Just as the Bells described, the knocking began. Blankets were pulled, and an unseen force tormented the household. Johnston was convinced. Soon, word spread throughout the community. People from all over the region came to the Bell farm, hoping to experience the phenomenon. And the spirit, it seemed, loved the attention. It began to speak, its voice clear and articulate. It introduced itself as Kate, claiming to be the witch of the Bell family. This is what sets the Bell Witch case apart from so many other hauntings. Kate wasn't just a series of bumps in the night. She was a conversationalist. She could quote scripture word for word, mimic the voices of people from miles away, and engage in complex arguments. She knew everyone's secrets and delighted in spreading gossip, often revealing things she couldn't possibly have known. Crowds would gather in the Bell home just to hear her speak. Witnesses, including many respected members of the community, swore that her voice emanated from the ceiling, the walls, and even thin air, making any claims of trickery or ventriloquism seem impossible. But Kate's games were far from harmless. She held a particular hatred for John Bell, whom she called Old Jack. She tormented him mercilessly, vowing to end his life. John's health began to decline rapidly. He suffered from strange fits, twitching, and a sensation of having a stick stuck in his throat, making it difficult to speak or swallow. The spirit's voice would often be heard cackling with glee during his most painful episodes. In December of 1820, after years of torment, John Bell fell into a coma and passed away. After his death, the family found a small, mysterious vial of black liquid in the medicine cabinet. Kate's voice triumphantly shrieked through the house, "I gave old Jack a big dose of that last night." The family had the liquid tested on a cat, which reportedly died instantly. This chilling confession led to the local belief that John Bell's death was a murder committed by a supernatural entity. The witch's reign of terror didn't end there. She had always been vehemently opposed to Betsy Bell's engagement to a local young man named Joshua Gardner. She tormented Betsy relentlessly, pleading and threatening her to break it off. Finally, exhausted and broken, Betsy ended the engagement in 1821. With her two main goals accomplished, the death of John Bell and the end of Betsy's engagement, the witch's activity began to subside. She announced she would leave the family but promised to return in 7 years. True to her word, she reportedly returned in 1828, having conversations with John Bell's son, but her visit was brief and far less violent. She then promised to return again in 107 years, which would have been in 1935. While no major events were recorded, the legend was far from over. The story of the Bell Witch became ingrained in American folklore. It was even said that a young Andrew Jackson, before he became president, visited the Bell farm to investigate the haunting. According to the tale, his men were so terrified by the witch's power, with one man being viciously attacked by the spirit, that they fled the property in the middle of the night. Jackson himself allegedly declared, "I would rather face the entire British army than spend another night with the Bell Witch." Of course, there are skeptics. Some historians suggest the story was exaggerated over time, fueled by local superstition and religious fervor. Theories range from a collective delusion to an elaborate prank orchestrated by Betsy Bell herself, perhaps using ventriloquism. Others propose that John Bell's death could have been due to natural causes or even poisoning by a human hand, with the witch story conveniently used as a cover. However, the sheer number of witnesses and the detailed, consistent accounts passed down through generations make it difficult to dismiss the entire event as a simple fabrication. To this day, the legacy of the Bell Witch endures in Adams, Tennessee. The Bell Witch Cave, a nearby cavern where the spirit was said to reside, has become a popular destination for paranormal enthusiasts. Visitors report hearing disembodied voices, seeing shadowy figures, and experiencing sudden drops in temperature. Tour guides share stories of electronic equipment failing, objects moving on their own, and guests leaving in sheer terror. Whether you believe it's a genuine haunted site or simply the power of suggestion, the atmosphere there is undeniably eerie. So, what was the Bell Witch? A vengeful ghost? A powerful demonic entity? Or a masterful hoax that spiraled into one of America's greatest legends? The story leaves us with more questions than answers. It's a chilling reminder that some mysteries are never solved, and some voices from the past refuse to be silenced. The tale of Kate continues to echo through history, a dark and terrifying chapter in the annals of the supernatural. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Bell Witch haunting. What do you think really happened on that Tennessee farm? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more explorations into the world's greatest mysteries. We'll see you in the next one.